Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Endless Celts Podcast. I hope you're all well. Who's going to watch along this evening, and also on catch up. Delighted to be joined by show regular Franny. How you doing?
Aye, all good, all good. Just down in Stranraer, Stephen, working, but just here to talk Celtic.
Yeah, and hopefully your Wi-Fi holds up. You don't turn into a wee robot in the wing. But coming to our special guest this evening, a singer, folk singer, rebel singer, whatever you want to call him. It's Matt O'Reilly. How you doing, buddy?
Okay, mate. How are you?
I'm fine, man. I'm fine. I mean, very brilliantly named, by the way, Matt O'Reilly, one of the best players in the Celtic team. What?
I got a wee bit excited at the weekend.
But yeah, it's good. It's good to have you on, but it's good to have you on. I do want to say one thing, by the way. That ending on Friday night podcast was an absolute shambolic, wasn't it? By the way, and Ross McCall was on. Oh, mate, we could. My StreamYard cut out, right, and I couldn't end the broadcast. So they were all on the screen, just looking at each other and still live, and I didn't know what to do. And I popped up my dressing gown. It looked well dodgy, mate, but it was just a shambolic. And I do want to point as well, our show sponsors, Sharna, get involved with them. Some great club are in there, 10% off with a discount code below. Our t-shirts are coming out this week, so I'm delighted and I'm excited to actually see what they're like in person. But we'll crack on, and I'll come straight to you, Matt. Let's talk about Tynecastle. We always do like a brief overview of the game, so kind of summarise the game for yourself. What was it like?
I couldn't have started better, to be honest, and I was a bit worried because of the league game 3 days previous, and but how fast it started, unbelievable. And Armoy, I'd run out of words to say how much I love him. Do you know what I mean? He's unbelievable. For him to get a goal, Jota, accident, the game as a whole, I thought Celtic were comfortable. The worrying thing for the rest of the league is that I don't even think Celtic got out of second gear, and that's the third best team in the league. Do you know what I mean? So I was pleasing. I was buzzing.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with you, to be honest. I've heard a lot of people say about this. We're not even out of first gear, second gear, Franny. And it seems like to me there was a lot of questions asked over social media. John Hart, I think, brought it up on the radio channel he works for, saying if this is a standard, then what do you expect? I mean, Celtic does show up and kind of win these games now. But Tynecastle, I mean, the atmosphere can be difficult. It can be toxic. Do you know what I'm saying? So you're kind of expecting a tough game, but I agree with Matt. They're comfortable, like what you would say, a comfy win.
I certainly, Stephen. Obviously, you maybe laid down a wee bit of Mark. By the way, that's a shocker of a comment. That's a classic jersey.
I said the top was nice before we come on.
That's a classic jersey.
Scott, what a boy. He's amazing.
So we obviously had laid down a sort of a marker, if you like, midweek at Parkhead and stuff, but obviously you're going to the cup game at Tynecastle. It's predominantly a hard ground to go to. The crowd's kind of on top of you and stuff, and as a cup tie, Hearts have kind of nothing to lose really. They can go for it, but it's one of the best performances I think I've seen for us at Tynecastle in a long time. The first 20 minutes, I think we just took the game away for Hearts in that. Obviously, they had their spells in the second half. You're going to expect that. Similarly, like the League Cup final, where the team like Rangers had spells in the game. It's how you weather it. Yeah, Joe Hart had like that save in the first half, so obviously crucial at 1-0, but it's one of the comfiest afternoons I think we'll ever have at Tynecastle. I thought we absolutely bossed it for the majority of the game.
It must be heartbreaking to be Robbie Nielsen. And like he must be crying himself to sleep every night now. So 2 defeats in a week, that's shambolic for him. But in terms of it as well, and again, it was wasn't it the first day for the Gorgie Ultras behind that goal? And they were a shambles, like, don't you mean? They were a shambles. But coming to you, Matt, you mentioned Armoy. Now, if you've listened before, we all know my history of Armoy. You say you run out of words, I'm only starting to say he's good, so I'm still getting there. But in terms of what he provided for the team, what I want to point out as well in that build-up to the first goal was Jota. He literally sold Kingsley down a river by kind of dummying for the header. Kingsley was jumping for it, moved past him, and then a fizz ball in and a one-time finish by Armoy. And not to mention, by the way, Riho Hatate probably should have banged one in, but Sander Clark had a good save from it. But yeah, Armoy, man, you take it away. You said that you're running out of words. What do you think about him so far in the Celtic shirt?
I actually had a conversation with a mate about this. When he first signed, my first thing was, great squad player. He come on last 15, 20 to see games out. But the thing that surprises me about him most is his work rate is phenomenal. Up and down. He's everywhere. And see, I don't think Celtic, for as good as McGregor, Brown, Roddy, all the midfielders that pass, I don't think Celtic have had a player that makes that late run in their box as well as him in a long, long time. That he almost delays his run, and that's how he got that goal. It's like a delayed. He waited and waited and waited, and then sort of made the burst. But he's phenomenal. And I was going again, talking. I did a bit of looking on Twitter, and there's Huddersfield fans on Twitter genuinely saying he's their greatest ever player. Like,
I've seen that.
Like
yeah.
that's behind that. And see, going back to the previous point there, we just heard about John Hartson. I don't think Celtic can win at the minute because, Stephen, they're not playing well. Celtic need to be better. They need to be blowing these teams away. But Stephen, Celtic are blowing these teams away. It's on it. The rest of the standards not good. It's a catch-22. Celtic can never win. But I'm just savouring every single bit of it, including Robbie Nielsen's tears. And honestly, I think he's more unlikable than Megan Beale. Honestly, he's he just cries about everything.
Yes.
I've seen someone say that he spent his whole life trying to be Robbie Leeson on Friday's show. That he used to wear the hairband though when Stephen Presley was doing it. No, Stephen Presley, sorry. But coming back to you, Franny, Matt mentioned Moy and his work rate. Now, I still think, I'm going to stick to what I say, I still think he's slow as chips, and he turns like Robocop. I think he plays his best football when he's facing the play and he can pick a pass and has a bit of time in the ball. But let's look at the finish. I mean, to be fair, to get that in with one touch, Jota fizzed that at him, and it was just bang, past Sander Clark before he could even dive for it. So it was a great goal, and I want to reiterate, Jota played a key part in that.
I can remember when Moy signed, I was underwhelmed. I knew he was a good player. You knew we were getting a good player, but it was just at the time I was like, a bit short-sighted, thinking, do we really need that type of player? Do we need an Aaron Moy? But by God, he's proved a lot of folk wrong, and I think he's one of the first names in the team sheet now. It's no, is it Matt O'Reilly or Aaron Moy?
Matt O'Reilly's here. Moy. He's here.
I know. That's right. He's been demoted to this podcast because of Aaron Moy. And but I mean, you said obviously he plays his best stuff facing the goal. What football player doesn't play their best stuff facing the opposition goal? No football player really likes facing the other.
Was that point that stupid? I thought I was making sense. Thanks for doing that to me,
Franny. No football player likes playing with facing their own goal. And in fairness, but I think it's intelligent how he gets in the positions and stuff, and his play is very deliberate. It looks slow, but it's not really. I think when you're good, you make things look easy, and it can look like you're slowing the game down and stuff like that. But his goal was really, really good. It's like Matt said earlier, he's just got a knack of getting in the box at the right time. He actually he's no busting a gut to get in the box. He knows the space isn't at the front post. Kyogo's got to be making that run, and he just holds back his run. It's a great pick out for Jota, and what a finish with just a minute and 2 minutes on the clock and that. And it just set the tone for the day and just settled us right down. But Aaron Moy is. What a player he is. What a player.
He is. He's turned out to be an absolute rock star for Celtic. And Matt, I knew I was going to get this question. Plunge McNugget a bit earlier than I thought. Is Matt O'Reilly your real name?
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. And see when they were talking about sending him from MK Dons, the amount of matches I got, like, I give it this and the guy that was Nancy Williams, he was like, I knew you were a good singer, a good guitarist, but no, I've never seen you play football. You've had everything or something. But we're going to play at Berlin. I got brought back crashing down the earth. As I was leaving the stage, a couple of boys come up to me. I was like, good show, blah, blah, blah. And a couple of passes, and a boy came over to me and says, because obviously Celtic in a raid in Berlin. I was like, how does it feel? And all the Man O'Reillys in Berlin right now, you're the ugly one.
Cheers, eh? Cheers.
That's cutthroat, like.
Jerry, like, I was up here and I had it just from boom. But I think it's got a cram on the left.
That's a cracker. Jane Thomas comes in here to come to the comments The Scottish media will compliment us. They're hurting big time and trying their hardest to get Ange and some of the players out the door. Long may their pain continue. I think that's what you were saying, Matt. We're in a catch-22 situation where if we're not good, we're told to be better. And then if we're amazing, the teams are shit round about us. And again, we can't control who players they sign. We can't control their squads. And it's just a bit of a lazy excuse to use that time and time and time again from media or managers. I find it really lazy. But coming back to you, Matt, there was a penalty claim for Alistair Johnson with everyone's favourite player, Andy Halliday, turned into a wee bit of a cult hero for Celtic fans. Some of the excuses I've heard for this is mad. I think it was Michael Stewart said because the ball was away from him, it wasn't a penalty kick. But then you could take that argument, so if the ball's away from someone in midfield, you went up and punched him, does it not count? So he got took out in the box. What's your opinion? Penalty kick or no penalty?
Penalty kick every single day of the week and twice on a Sunday. Do you know how I imagine those kicks? I was looking at it and I went, would that have been given in our box? 100% it would have, without a shadow of a doubt. It was such a stonewaller, but I never really bought into the referees were a wee bit suspect in Scotland. Really, always have us until this year. But my word, a penalty every day of the week. I don't know how you missed it. How VAR didn't even look at it.
I know. I think that as well.
Talk about the referees being suspect. Did you see that video of Tavernier and McGregor and John Beaton before the Rangers game? They're in the tunnel and they're all shaking hands and having a joke with each other in that. Mental.
Yeah.
Aye.
Like Captain Cal? No.
I'm not saying you're part of it, but you just can't be doing that, sitting sharing a joke and shaking their hands and all that in the tunnel before the game.
Maybe McGregor's come from the point of view being like, we know we're going to win, I'll just smile and laugh at you just in the tunnel while we're here.
Alan McGregor and James Beaton.
All right, I get it. That's mad.
They're all shaking hands and sharing a joke and all that, and you're like, wow.
Here's a couple of quid. Did you see the whole Barcelona thing coming out now? That they paid referees. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, that's what. See, one day I wake up. What did Juve do?
I'm sure that's how they ended up in getting.
Oh yeah, Serie B and all that.
They were paying off the referees.
Match fixing. I imagine waking up one day and being like, looking at whatever online, but Rangers have been caught paying 20p to John Beaton for a mix-up if he gets a penalty kick. But coming back to you, Franny, to kind of keep it on track here, Johnson, he got clattered by Halliday in the box, whether the ball's away from him, and I agree with Matt 100%. It would have been a penalty all day in our box. So, do you know what I mean? What do you think?
I think it's a penalty as well. It's not a bad challenge. It's just late. It's a late challenge. That's all it is. And for VAR, the referee not to be asked, I don't know where the referee's position was at the time, so you could maybe argue he's not got a great view, but surely VAR's looking at it and going, I think you need to really look at this and see it, because he's wiped out. It's not a bad challenge. It's not a booking. It's a penalty. It's like Matt said, it's a penalty up the other end of the box. We can deny it all we want, but it's a penalty at the other end of the ground.
It is 100%. And I was with you, Matt. Before, we've done this podcast, as I said, now for 3 years nearly, and we were always talking about referees, but none of us really went down the conspiracy theory route. But I think this season has really brought it to a head. I mean, with VAR, and you're still getting shafted up the Ringo, you're going to be like, what's going on? What's your opinion of VAR so far?
It's caused more problems, but at the same time, it's making it harder for them to get away with certain aspects of certain cheating. But it's the length of time. I was at the St Johnson game a couple of weeks ago, and Turnbull's goal, every goal was subject to a check. It was mad. It took the excitement out of it. You know what I mean? And I just don't. All in all, I'd like to see it white. I don't know about you, but I'd like to see it white.
I agree, because I think we already had inept referees before, and they've just become even more inept now to have this technology. And you hear the pundits say all the time they're relying on it too much, which I agree with. They're not making their own decisions no more because they know they've got the backdrop of VAR. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit takes it away from the game, and even the goals in the weekend. Was it Kyogo's goal or no? One of the goals, can't remember which one, was delayed for 3 minutes while I checked it. It's like, come on. Do you know what I mean? It's a goal.
I know. How long do you need to look at that?
Yeah, it was the Michael Stewart. He said it's like they're they're terrified of making mistakes because it's there, and the mistake will be picked up on. So I think they're having to check every single wee detail of a goal before they get it because they're terrified of getting it wrong, rather than
Yeah,
just but it's
I
frustrates
know.
me more
But
than it actually.
here's a saving grace for you. Alistair Jack's come in. He loves the shirt, Matt. We all do. It's a cracker.
Uh,
And Ted Thomas comes in with something quite funny. I seen this. Rumours have go borrowed
I
more
know.
money just to pay their bills. That's crazy. A lot of rumours going around Twitter and that as well. But here, coming back to you, Franny, and I'm purposely leaving this the last with Matt because I know his views on this person we're going to talk about. Mr. Joe Hart pulled off an absolute wonder save and then proceeded to nearly punch the referee clean the gub for giving the corner kick. But let's be fair to this, right? The point blank nature of that save is an absolute cracking save. And I said that to Matt off air. It reminded me of Fraser Foster when he could get down, palm it away, and then get up again and palm around the post. That's what it reminded me of. But we had a wee bit of a chat, and I'm still of the opinion. It's like he does one good thing, and that should give him another 2 or 3 year deal. I still think we're going to upgrade him in the summer. I do believe he's been a good servant for the club. He's come in, he's filled the void, and his experience and his leadership has been there for all to see. But what's your opinion on that and his long term future at Celtic?
Well, there's still a bit debate in our group chat how long he's got left in his deal anyway. I'm saying he's still got
Oh,
another
there
thing
is.
after this. I don't think his contract's up at the end of the season, so I would not have any issue with Joe Hart being your number one next season. I think you've seen it the last 18 to 20 months and stuff. The guy's pulling off great saves. He's clearly a big influence on the back four and stuff. They feel comfortable with him. He feels comfortable with the back four, and it's hard to get. As much as we champion Barkas so many times, Stephen, you've seen the defence aren't comfy with that level of goalkeeper. You need a Joe Hart type guy, and I think when you look at it pound for pound, you could argue he's been Ange's best signing if you go pound for pound for what he brings to the team. Should we be looking to upgrade? I think maybe we will be looking to upgrade, but I would have no issue if Joe Hart starting as his number one next season. I think he's still got it. You see, keepers can go on a wee bit longer. I think he's still got it, but I do maybe understand your argument for what he play out for the back. His distribution is not great. He's no great with the ball at his feet. He's probably never got to get any better. It's what is he, 36, 35 now? You're not really going to be able to train that into him. I don't think he's kind of set in his ways. He might get slightly better and you'll get away with it in SPL, but I think Europe will find out. But if we get a better keeper than Joe Hart, then great. But I would argue that for any position, if you get a better Carter Vickers, if you can get a better Callum McGregor, a better Kyogo, you should always be looking to get better. But it's just, I would be careful and I'm basing that kind on Barkas, really, unfortunately.
Well, by all accounts, Mr. Barkas is on the first plane out of Holland when his contract expires at Utrecht. But coming to you, Matt, I mean, yeah, me and Franny jokingly keep the Barkas train rolling. Me more than so. I like the wind people up and say he's going to make it. Part of me wants that to happen, but yeah, it's just the fact I can go and told you so. But I mean, for me, Joe Hart, as I said, and Franny made a great point. His footwork and his distribution. Pep Guardiola famously got rid of him because of it, and that's fair enough. Obviously, on a lower level, he can do it better. That's again the level that we play at in the SPFL. But in European football, as I said to you, I just believe that he's just one wee step behind in terms of quickness and sharpness and distribution. Just getting it done quickly. We've seen him lose his concentration in a few games of European football, crept into domestic football as well. I mean, John Duncan comes in just before. Barkas is a very good goalkeeper. He just couldn't handle the pressure of Celtic. So maybe one of us, John, maybe you can join the train with me. But Matt, I've seen on your Twitter you said he's probably one of the best you've seen at Celtic. What do you think about his future and how he played there?
I think Franny made a great point. It's be careful what you wish for with Joe Hart. I honestly do believe he's one of Celtic's greatest keepers of the last 30 years. Pure, number one, talent-wise, he's joint has Golden Glove winner in Premier League history, English Premier League history. That's his pedigree. I think, yes, he has made the odd mistake, but that leadership and that just aggressive will to win, it's like having a captain without a captain in terms of, there's leaders right up through the spine of the team, which I think Anne's just done brilliantly. You've Joe Hart, you've Carter Vickers, and you've Callum McGregor. And I just think he's incredible. I honestly, I agree with what Franny said. He's probably Anne's most important signing because after I called Barkas. Barkas was like the hipsters option for those new age football fan passing percentage of the goalkeepers. I never thought he was going to do it at Celtic, and honestly, I just thought I hadn't seen too much of him, but I just thought the goalkeeper shirt didn't fit him. It was too big on him. He just didn't look like a Celtic goalie. Joe Hart's come in and just that just leadership. Just I can't say enough good things about him. I would keep him for all. I would give him. He's another year next season. We'll give him a year after that as well, and then that you maybe look to promote from within that boy Olemu in the reserves. He's very highly thought of. Maybe promote from within and maybe try and get a goalkeeper coming through. It's going to be there for the next 5 or 6 years after Hart. I think that should be the plan. Whether it is or not, another matter. But
I think if you look at the goalkeeping department, you got Scott Bain, Segrist, Connor Hazard, who won a championship with Helsinki. You've got Toby Alawami. I think he's on loan to Cork in Ireland in the Irish League. So he's away. Is it Cork? Is it? I think it is Cork.
I think he's over in Ireland anyway.
Aye.
What? Waterford maybe or I don't know, but he's definitely over there.
Aye, he's over there. We'll go find him after the show, Matt, just to get a picture and make sure. But there is. I mean, Scott Bain for me, he's done. He's gonna be like the Ben Foster or like whoever Brad Friedel goalkeeping in his later years, that's kind of filling the void. You got Toby Alawami. I totally agree with you, Matt. I really expect him to excel in the next couple of years. And then Connor Hazard, he played in the cup final for us and we won a cup against Hearts. Funny enough, I think it was that penalty kicks. And it's like one of these things. You look at these people and sometimes they can fall off the face of the cliff. And the Joe Hart succession plan, it interests me because, as I said to you, he filled the void. I don't see a plan with him. I think if you give him a year after his next year, but push him 38 and all that kind of stuff, and he made a great save. But at the end of the day, players have to go, and if Postecoglou wants to get a better upgrade, who are we to say anything? And
I don't think anybody said that. Like anybody's arguing against that. It's just Joe Hart is a really good goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's Joe, and I think that Anne's will always. Anne's did make a comment. They say like fan favourites will go. If I can find him, if Anne does have an upgrade there, by all means, I trust him. I think he's so much credit in the bank that if he get rid of Joe Hart and put my dad in nets, I would have to trust him because he has that much credit in the bank. But I just think at this present time, like our Celtic going to get our goalkeepers better. Hart, I still think he gets into out with the top 4. He gets into nearly every team in the Premier League still.
No, he doesn't. No, he don't. No way.
I think it does. I agree with that. Pep Guardiola's probably got them in England, I think.
I'd say the top 4. Who've you got in the top 4?
West Ham, he didn't get in the squads. Tottenham, he was third choice.
Because he didn't play with West Ham. It's hard to get into a squad if you didn't sign with them, Steve.
He did play for West Ham, mate. He played with Haksabanovic at West Ham.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure it wasn't
Yeah. Hold on a wee second, lads, because I know for a fact he played. Google it, Franny, and then I'll watch your face drop as you know I'm right. Because he did an interview. He did an interview recently, and he was talking about Haksabanovic coming into West Ham when I think it was Pellegrini was there as their manager, and he said it was going to be a top talent. And then Finn came in, David Bhoys, and they kind of went up the shitter for him. I'm pretty sure he played for. Yes, come on! And there's two clubs, 2 Premier League clubs in Burnley. He didn't get a sniff at. So.
His confidence was absolutely in the gutter at that point. I think right now, full confidence out with Man City, United, who's the other top? Arsenal, maybe Chelsea, maybe a top 5. Do you know what I mean? And I honestly think he's that good stuff. I really do. But
I mean, there's no doubt we've revolutionised his career. I mean, we did that with Craig Gordon, didn't we? We brought him in from the dumps and he turned out to be a cracking goalkeeper. And I'm not saying Joe Hart isn't a great goalkeeper. I just have my beliefs and stuff, and sometimes they're really wrong. But I have to stick with them because I've said them. So, do you know what I mean? But we'll move on from Joe Hart. That was a good discussion, guys. I'll come back to you, Franny. Kyogo, with that wee flick. Oh, sublime. Who was that? Was it the Belly scored a flick for us, wasn't it? Against Rangers?
He scored against Rangers, aye. Giakoumakis done it last season against Hearts as well.
Yeah,
Tynecastle.
cracking finishes, and he's on his way for 30 goals. And I think when we all seen Giakoumakis was leaving, there was a wee bit of question marks in terms of could Kyogo carry the team. By all accounts, like he's carried it and then some. He's on fire.
I don't know if stepped up's probably not the right term, but he's really coming into his own and stuff. He's leading that line brilliantly. Like, what's he saying? But it's just like that type of finish. It's just it's a finish of somebody playing with so much confidence and stuff, and just knows he's got to score every time he sort of gets a chance and stuff, and he's got the confidence, the arrogance to do that. The guy's absolutely flying now. If he doesn't, he might even get 40 goals. I think it's a push because what is it?
12 games
in that.
12 games left.
It's going to be hard because obviously Ange does tend to take him off after 60 minutes, 70 minutes, and I think you might get I'll start a couple of games maybe once the league's maybe done and dusted. Might get some starts in, but up until then I think Kyogo's going to be starting week in, week out. But I think I've seen a few things, and I think it's a fair argument. Can you now say he's been the best striker since Larsson? I think he's coming into that argument. I would still argue Dembele is better. I would take Dembele before him. I would probably actually have Kyogo before Edouard now. And I think Edouard's a brilliant football player, but I'd probably have Kyogo before Edouard. But I think he's definitely in the conversation. Is he the best striker since Larsson?
Oh, it's a hard one because you look at strikers like Gary Hooper, Scott McDonald. You look, do you know what I mean? They scored plenty of goals in a pretty average team. Let's be fair. You look at Odds and Edouard, look at Moussa Dembele, man. But you kind of look at that. Kyogo to me is different from all them players. There's no one like Kyogo that's played with that movement, with that intelligence, with that kind of strike. And I think Joe Duncan has come in here and said Lee Griffiths was a top striker for us. And unfortunately for Lee, John, his career went up the chute. We all know what's happened. He's away over the semi-professional team in Australia. And that I was saying that kind of phrase, if you get a fit and firing Lee Griffiths, he'll score 40 plus. That was kind of a running joke for a couple of years. But I mean, Kyogo for me, man, his runs are just crazy. And Postecoglou said it in one of his post-match press conferences that we aren't finding him taking advantage of these kind of smart movements. And the last couple of games, I found him with the front post of the flick, Aaron Moy with the decoy pass when Kyogo made the run against him at Parkhead. He's on fire. And where do you stand on what Franny said in terms of where can you rank him among strikers since Larsson?
I think he's probably the best for me. The comment there, Kevin 14 said the system complementing Kyogo perfectly. I think that's a bang on comment because I think the way Celtic play, it just suits him down to the ground. His movement's unreal. His movement, I've never seen a player like him in terms of, his movement's so clever. And like Dembele for me was probably a more technically gifted footballer, but I think that Kyogo is a better striker, if that makes sense. I think I think he probably is the best since Larsson in terms of what he's offering. I think I would not bet against him one bit getting close to 40 or 40 goals this year. He's just and I always measure these strikers on how to do against Rangers, and I think the cup final is where he really stepped up. He stood up and. I mean, he did nothing, and then bang, was moving back, goal, and then he did nothing for a while again, and bang, goal. And then I think that's a mark of a great player. Celtic have had so many players over the years that they'll run about and they'll try and they'll look like they're working hard and they'll hunt and they'll see that mark of just drifting through a game and then switching it on. I think that's what Kyogo is so good at, and I don't think Celtic have had anyone. My dad sort of made that comment to me as well. He said, the amount of games where Larsson first incredible he was for Celtic. There was games where Larsson was very quiet, and then it was almost
great point.
And then there was goal, and you hadn't done anything for 50, 60 minutes. But that for me is the difference between a very good player and a genuinely top class player, and I think Kyogo has it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you looked at him, they're obviously learning with Faisal Kobe, with Iniesta, David Villa. I mean, who better to learn your trade from, but probably one of the best midfielders that's ever lived in NAS. You know what I mean? Making them passes, he's coaching him on a daily basis of where to be and where to run. And I like what you said about Dembele. I don't know about maybe technically gifted, but what I will say, like, he was a strong man. He was a strong runner. He get in about people. He was physical. And he laid it on thick when he was playing well. But I agree certainly that Kyogo is probably a far all round player, better than Dembele. I mean, since Larson, I don't know. I mean, Edward was great at times and he checked out. Dembele signed him on basically a free contract from Fulham and he took everything by storm. Hat-tricks against Sevco and all that type of stuff. You can throw in Hooper. I know William, if he's listening, he loves Gary Hooper. Absolutely loves Gary Hooper, and I think we all do, to be fair. And you look at the lesser ever mentioned player, Scott McDonald, scored loads of goals for us as well. But I'd certainly say he's probably in the top three. I don't want to say he's been the best since. He's in the top three because I loved Dembele, and I loved Edward when he was on fire. Dembele was incredible, and Edward when he switched it on. I mean, he cut in from the left that time against Rangers and bump, fizzed it around the keeper.
People forget about Dembele. Dembele had a season at Celtic where he scored 9 league goals.
I know.
Right?
I know. I get the argument.
Yeah. And he was quality Dembele, but he had, at the time Griffiths was playing as well, and that was a great time. Scott McDonald as well, I think he gets a bit of a raw deal. I've never ever, even when he played for Celtic, on a helicopter Sunday, just could not take it. Don't know what it was.
Yeah, I know. My granddad was the exact same. I
was about 12 when it happened, and I was a very bitter 12-year-old because I just did not like him.
It's one of them. Players change their colours, don't they? Loyalty. There's no loyalty in football. So I mean, if you get paid more, you go to that club. I do want to come to the comments here. At the Patrick McLaughlin, Kyogo could equal Larson's two-season goal tally, and he was injured for 4 months last season. John Duncan again. Kyogo has to score more headers. I mean, does he really though? He gets in the boundary, like he's in the right place. Kevin 14. Our system destroying 4 at the back. 5 at the back is just a matter of grinding them down. And I think you said it, Matt. Kevin nailed it when he said the system is suiting him right now. But yeah, Kyogo definitely in my top 3. It's hard for me right now because I want to see him more dominating in European football, taking them chances, because me and Willie spoke about it. Sometimes he wasn't clinical enough, but it looks like he's improved that. His chances that he's missing now is getting less and less, and he's taking advantage of the chances he's receiving, which is good to see.
Because I think we probably all agree that he's not as clinical as we actually think, but then you see that stat that he's got 46 goals in 71 games. It's mental.
That's
mental. He don't think he's clinical, and that's his goal, his stats.
Yeah.
Brian Murray wants to talk to you, man. When you ordered Matt O'Reilly on Wish for the CSC Christmas Day, that's so bad. Brian, come on here. He's a guest. Come on. He says stuff like that.
What kills me about the Matt O'Reilly name is that the Matt O'Reilly player for Celtic is a handsome boy. You know what I mean?
I don't think say ugly players, but
you're preaching to the choir. Big Fanny loves him. We'll move on from that, and we'll talk about the defence. Matt, we'll come back to you for this one. Starfelt picked up a knock. Kobayashi comes in at half time. And let's be fair to him, Kobayashi played 2 games before that, 2 clean sheets. Saw out this game with another clean sheet. I've been impressed with him. And I like the fact as well, yeah, he looks slight. Let's be honest, he looks like he probably out-muscled by strong strikers, but he gets in about it. He's up for headers. He's trying to tackle people, stand on the ground when he needs to, jockeying players, and he's got a great left foot. The amount of times he cut the ball through the middle instead of going out wide was great, because it confused them because they're used to Starfelt playing that simple ball to Taylor, but he was able to fizz it into a Tate McGregor, which brought a different dimension to the game. But where do you think Kobayashi fits, and what do you think since he signed from Japan?
I've been very positive so far. So going to be the first negative point. He does not fill me with confidence one iota. I thought he looked slow. He looked weak. That big boy for Hearts, what's his name? Big boy scored the goal midweek.
Janelli.
But I thought he'd get ragdolled a wee bit. You know what I mean? But I'm willing to give him. I think tactically, brilliant, but just defensively, I think there's mountains of people out there that kind of say Starfelt and say, "Oh, Celtic need to get rid of Starfelt, get a left side centre half in." Celtic looked a lot more open when he was off the pitch, when he was off the park. I'm a big Starfelt fan, but it's in our case of what you might spoil because if we lose him for a couple of weeks, I think, I'm a bit worried. Kobe actually doesn't probably with confidence at all at the minute.
Well,
It's very
do you
early.
think it was? Do you think it was a mistake then with that Jens go?
Oh, but yeah, big time.
Think so?
But
I like
I
them
can
too.
understand his point of view. He wants to go and play, but I thought that Jens came in. Jens, he's just big. I like that from the centre half. Big, aggressive. It's right about people. That's I say the Starfelt game that he has. That he, a lot of people sort of forget. Starfelt can be a nasty player. Do you know what I mean? As much as a nice person, as much as Conor Vickers. But people focus on the other aspect. They say, "Oh, he's not great with the ball," but I mean, like the amount of times against Rangers when Morelos was trying to get touch paid him and he was just hammering into him. Do you know what I mean? And I think if I would have definitely kept Jens on the 100%. I'd have took him permanently if I could have. But if it was
I know the club he's joined in Germany. And always seeing I say this name, Schalke. What isn't it, Schalke? Because when I first pronounced it, I said, what was it I said first of all? Shackle, shambles. But he's joined them, and I think they've played 6 games with him. They've had 5 clean sheets, and he's played in every one of them games. And I think they beat Dortmund during the weekend as well. He was involved in that. But it's all ifs, buts, and maybes. And Kobe actually for me, Franny, is he looks. I don't agree with you, Matt. To be honest with you, I thought he looked okay. He grew into the game for me. He grew into it. And what he does better than Starfelt, and I love Starfelt by the way, but what he does far better is distribution. That's 100%. That's nailed on. He has that over Starfelt. And for me, you said Josh Ginnelly, but let's be fair, Josh Ginnelly has one trick. It's just running. He kept up with him and blocked a few shots. You know what I mean? It wasn't like as if he was getting pulled about or he was getting snapped into and he was shirking away from the game, Franny. I thought, from my point of view, unless you're with Matt, I thought he grew into and he looked all right.
I know. I thought he looked good and stuff. I've been okay with his performances so far. Also, the previous couple of games were at Parkhead and kind of strolled him a wee bit. But I just think I'm not. He looked good coming out. I do agree he might get bullied a wee bit, but he maybe just need to kind of learn that bit of the game and stuff. Basically, it's coming over for the G League. It's maybe not as physical. But I totally agree with Matt. It's like, if it's Starfelt or Kobayashi, I don't think, obviously that's not the argument, but it's Starfelt every day of the week now. Kobayashi might be for the future. He looks more an Ange type player where he can bring the ball out for defence. He has got a great distribution on him. But when it comes to just defending, Starfelt's ridiculous. Starfelt's really good. He's really good at defending. And we can be a wee bit old school at times and just be like Joe Hart is good. He's a good goalkeeper. He's not the best with his feet, but I'm not caring. He's good at keeping the ball at the net. Starfelt maybe isn't the good with the ball at his feet, but by God, they can fucking defend at the end of the day. But I'm okay with Kobayashi now. I think he's got a wee bit to go to before he dislodges Starfelt, but 100% would have kept Jens. 100% would have kept Jens, but I think it's been more a decision for Jens that he's obviously not been promised guaranteed a lot of football and stuff, and he's obviously had to make a wee personal line. But just totally I think Ayer would be absolutely brilliant in this defence.
Oh, man, unbelievable.
See somebody in my road out for defence and just bring the ball out and that. I think Ayer would be absolutely ridiculous in this team.
Yeah, a lot of people give Ayer on the stick. Ayer was brilliant. Remember that goal he scored against Aberdeen? Literally ran the whole length of the pitch and popped it in the top bag. But see, to be fair as well, the question, what is it, man?
The racehorse. He's like a big Galvin racehorse. He
was built like a tank as well, wasn't he? He was a proper unit. But the only question I have in my mind, is if Kobayashi gets injured and you're stuck with Welsh or Bosa Lawwell, do you know what I mean? Which is it's not a bad fault. Welsh has come in and did well before, but you need that kind of quality to see these last games through. But we'll talk about the other centre half partner, Matt, and that's Carter Vickers. What an absolute baller this guy is. Iron Man, warrior, gladiator, whatever you want to throw at him, he'll probably do it, no problem. He's strong, he's quick, he got his goal, which was checked for about half an hour just to see if there's any way excuse they could give it for offside or whatever. But Carter Vickers, for me, I know we said where does he rank, but I've asked this question of Ross, I think Franny as well on the podcast. Is he better in his time than Van Dijk was with us? Not as players now, but
Um, Van Dijk played in a far like a worse team, in terms of quality. But I think, I think that similar attributes, and I want Carter Vickers to stay as long as he can. But I think he looks far too good for the SPL. To be honest, I think he looks a level above it. And Van Dijk, he's the first defender. He's the first defender I've seen that's happened since Van Dijk that looks too good for the league. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I think he's like we give our comparison like Kyogo the best since Larson. I think the same can be said for Carter Vickers and Van Dijk. I think he's the best. He's probably better for Celtic than Van Dijk was. I would agree with that, but it's the careers of a different trajectory. Van Dijk's now, the one. But I think just he looks far too good for the league for me, and it's great that Celtic have what to pay £6 million for.
snip like.
And I don't even know how he wasn't getting in for Spurs. That's Spurs back then. I don't think either of the centre has. I think he's as good as, if not better than both of them for me.
Yeah.
At Bhoys down Sanchez, I don't see it. I know why they would let him go and play him. But no, what a player! What a player!
This is the argument you said about Joe Hart getting into most teams bar the top four. I would take it for Carter Vickers, to be fair. Most teams, apart from maybe the top 4 or 5, he would stroll into, Franny. And Matt made a great point. We got him for £6 million. He was at Bournemouth for a season while they got promoted, I think, to the Premier League. Came to us on loan, strolled it, and he's came this year. And he's took his game to another level, I think. Not only is he quick across the ground, he's more confident now bringing the ball out. He can pass the ball. That ball, was it over to Haksabanovic, pinged over the left-hand side. Crossfield passes now, right on point. And like what Matt said there, he does look far too good for the standard we play at. And that's one thing that frightens me. Just one wee thing, that if he gets a sniff of something, then he might be like, here, lads, I'll give you 2 years. I need to up my game. But I don't want that to happen. I do not want that to happen. I'm not wishing him away. Where do you think he stays with Van Dijk in that kind of company? And there's someone in there to comment saying he's the best centre half I've had since Caesar. Do you go along with that?
Well, I'll take Paul Dyke's word for it, Stephen. I mean, I'm only 38, calm down. I never seen him playing. So, but I'll bow to Paul Dyke. I think it was that made that comment. I'll bow to his knowledge. But I think if we had to lose Carter Vickers at the end of the season, I think that would be a bigger loss than when we lost Van Dijk. Not saying that he's a better player. I think Van Dijk clearly is a better player. Look what he's went on to achieve in the game. But I think where we are now and where we were when Van Dijk was there, I think Carter Vickers is a bigger loss to our team than what Van Dijk would have been. But there's obviously that worry that come the end of the season, teams down the EPL might look at him and go, well, clearly he isn't a bad player. Look what he's doing up there. Like, they will probably look at guys like Van Dijk, Fraser Foster, Victor Wanyama, Stuart Armstrong that are actually going down there. They'll probably look at that and say, well, Celtic have got a habit of producing very good players that can cut it in this league. So that's one good thing for Celtic to help attract players, but also it's the negative of, well, teams might be looking at going, well, they've got a history actually producing good players. But a wee bit of me is looking at Carter Vickers, and if you look at his career, I think he's had 10, 12 clubs or something, albeit loan clubs. And what is he, 24-year-old?
Yeah.
This is the first time he's actually settled that team for a couple of seasons. So maybe he's looking going, right, I'm just coming into my prime. Maybe I just need to find my feet for a few years before jumping ship. That's what I'm hoping, that he stays for another season anyway. I think if you get 3 seasons out of a Carter Vickers type player, a Jota or a Hatate, I think you're doing well in football these days. Players, apart from obviously the EPL and things like that, they don't really tend to stay with clubs for too long because they get signed into silly contracts down there that it's almost hard to get them out of them, and that it's just cost too much money. Whereas I think a decent it's pocket change, unfortunately, for them down there to get a Carter Vickers in that fair. So unless it's something silly, because obviously all bar an absolute collapse. I think we've got the Champions League next season, and as much as we rate Carter Vickers, I don't see an Arsenal or a Man City or a Man U, and I think it's Spurs now as well, who's sitting in the top four. I don't see any of them coming in from, so I don't see him getting a crack at the Champions League. So I suppose it's a selfish thing. The best thing for me, for his career, I think, is at least stick it for another season at Celtic, get a crack in the Champions League, and his profile might rise out of that if we perform well in the Champions League. Like I say, not wishing away, but you've got to be realistic, eh?
Maybe as well, like you look at him, like he may be done with the Premier League. He may be looking at the Bundesliga, La Liga, Serie A. Do you know what I mean? There's plenty of options for players now. You don't have to go to the holy grail of the English football. It does my head in when people say stuff like that. But I do get what you mean, and I'm not saying you done my head in, Franny, but I mean everyone's thinking they're looking to go. They're going to England. They're the one to play for these clubs and get vast amount of money. You mentioned contracts. Could you imagine like it come out tomorrow? We done in Chelsea and give Joe Hart like a 9-year deal. I'd be sick. I'd be sick. So I mean, what is going on? But like, you look at Vickers, and what I love about him, it's the age-old phrase. He's humble. He is like a humble guy. When he gets interviewed with every player in this squad, it's about the team. It's about the efforts of tactic. It's about the evolution of the play. No one is taking individual praise. Jota doesn't even do it. They're incredible working together, a tactic, a unit, and long may not continue. But we'll move on to one of the bad points of the game at Tynecastle, Matt, and that was the Gorgie Ultras decided in their wisdom, apparently throw either it was a dart, some people are saying, a lighter at Joe Hart on their first ever venture, being the Ultras for Hearts. It's went quiet again, as you expect, and we see these incidents so often now. The physio at Ibrox last season got cut open. We've seen loads of objects being thrown in them games and players getting injured. It needs to stop, and it's shambolic that people can let people bring them, like a dart into the stadium. What's going on?
Yeah. That's disgusting. There's been so many instances of not just for Celtic, but and I even go back to the fan attacking Neil Lennon. It's parts of form. They are. Don't get me wrong. There's some players playing Paul that were have been great service to Celtic. We took two of our best players of the 2000s. Stephen Presley, Paul Hartley, Gary McKay, Stephen on the pitch. But in terms of their fan base, they're up our Rangers for me in terms of they seem to test Celtic, and I think it's born out of jealousy. I really do. I think more than any other club, I think it's born out of jealousy because they don't have what we have, and but go back to the objects. Whether if it was Celtic fans on things that another club, I'd say the exact same thing. It is disgusting. It needs to stop. And you had it at Ibrox with a broken bottle on the pitch. It's just I don't know what these idiots think they're going to get out of it. They get a stadium ban and then they get ridiculed for being idiots. I don't know why do you need?
I know, and there was a point in the game as well where Joe Hart literally refused to go behind the goal to collect the ball from him. And it's not like you see all the comments on social media by other clubs, look at this shite bag, Hart won't go behind the goal. But it's not that. If you're sitting and you're getting a dart through at you, or you're getting an object through at you, and as Matt said, I totally agree. If it's our fans doing it, any fan base, it needs to be called out and stopped, because that broken bottle, the physio cut, could have been a whole lot worse. Nothing's been done about it internally by clubs and that. Hearts ones went quiet. And it's swept under the carpet a wee bit, in my opinion.
We don't go to our work and expect to get bottles and darts or whatever chucked on. So why should football players essentially go to work and get the same? Now, I've had, obviously nothing's been confirmed what has been from, but it seems to be that. And Joe Hart, I think it's something more than a lighter and maybe a coin. He seemed a lot more animated, like he was drawing the attention to it, more than if it was maybe a coin or something, because usually if it's like a coin or lighter, they'll maybe just chuck it to the side and things, but he seemed to be willing to make a point to the referee that there was something bad had been chucked onto the park and stuff, and it's like that could seriously hurt the guy. It could end this, like we see Joe Hart's always trying to retrieve the ball back all the time, quick as anything. That could have went in his eye. I appreciate that's extreme situation, but that could have went in his eye, career potentially over and stuff, and it's scary. And like the bottle one, like Matt was saying, that bottle one at Ibrox, that is what has gone through somebody's head to for broken glass on a pitch. The damage that can be doing and stuff. Again, it's any fan base. It's absolutely moronic. It's stupid to actually be doing something like that. That's actually very good, by the way.
People are doing some wordplay here.
I appreciate. I know we focus how do you get a dart, but a dart's a wee thing. You can probably sneak that into a football ground quite easy. Glass bottles. Come on, how are you getting glass bottles into a football park? But I just throwing objects on the park and that. It's regardless of the year, it's fucking stupid, isn't it? It's absolutely stupid.
And the thing is, there's someone there, a comment there, which says, well, what Carty is some wee guy thinking he's a hard man, Hearts, no doubt, have mature fans that are disgusted at that, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, like you saw Joe Hart, Joe Hart's got a young family. I don't go to my work. I don't go out to the gig. Well, maybe sometimes, and I'm trying to so why should he be any different? It's the same. I would say if it was Alan McGregor, Sandra Clark, why should they be different? They shouldn't have to feel unsafe in their place of work.
Yeah, I totally agree with everyone in the comments. To go back to some of the stuff here that's been said, Kevin 14, Darda Malovian, disgrace, Stoned Outlaw, there was 2 darts apparently. So again, Patrick McLaughlin, darts, glorious darts. That was actually a hard one to say. I thought I was going to mess up. Stoned Outlaw, it's a horrible thought. It is, to be fair. And it's people may think we're making a big deal, nothing actually happened. But as Franny said, he runs around to get that ball quick, bang. Could be anywhere. Could be in his chest, his eyes. And it's just shambolic, and I want to reiterate as well, any fan base doing it, just knock in the head. Do you know what I mean? You go to football to watch the football, not to throw coins. Like, do you know what I mean? It's mad. But we'll go to another wee point here as well, Franny. We'll talk about Haksabanovic to finish it off. He got his chance. We're all calling for it. And I just don't think it quite worked out for him. Bar a couple of minutes in the first half where him and Atate and were linking up well. I think he passed the ball to him for the shot that Sander Clark push around the post. Is it one of these ones he's not quite up to speed yet? And I kind of hate saying that. He's been there, a year and a half or no, whatever it's been.
Just this year.
This year. He's been injured, fair enough. But again, that he should be able to make a better impact in 45 minutes. And it feels like Abada's in the same boat. He started the last game as well at Celtic Park. Didn't quite take his opportunity to start a full game. Is it a concern, or is it one of them things that they're impact players just for now coming off the bench?
I think they're impact players. Unfortunately, I really, as you know, I really rate Haksabanovic. I think he's a proper player. Like technically, I think he's our best winger. Technically, I think he's better than Jota. But you're not right now. Our front three is Kyogo, Jota, and Maeda. No question. Maeda might get a wee. Haksabanovic might get a wee run. We've not really been, not that I know how long Maeda's out. I don't think it's serious. Ange never seems to disclose this anyway. It's never really gives even that much to the media when guys will be back for injury. But I was a bit disappointed because, like a lot of folk, I was excited to see him starting at the weekend there. He had a couple of moments, but I think in the main, the game kind of passed him by. It was just one of the ones, and it was just unfortunate. Jota was having a really good game. Obviously, the natural substitution was Abada to come on and Jota go for the left. And I kind of said at the group chat, the ball wasn't out the left a lot of the game until Jota went out there and the ball was on the left. And you're like, but obviously that was more a tactical thing because Jota was out there and was having a good game. So I don't really think he done himself any favours to stake a claim again, but I wouldn't be any issues if he starts at the weekend again. As I say, I really rate the guy. I think he's a proper player. To kind of touch on Abada and at the midweek game, I don't think he was helped by Ralston. Like Ralston, I think
I totally agree.
Doesn't help Abada. So it's one of them. But Haksabanovic, for me, didn't take his chance. But I think anyways, he's got to do a lot now to oust Maeda. I think Maeda's really important to what we do now. And I actually seen an interview with Haksabanovic the other day, and he seems happy within his role within the team now, whether that's 10 minutes or the 90 he gets. So I just feel maybe next season Haksabanovic he'll proper give it a proper, not that he's not giving it a go, but I think if he's getting similar sort of game time next season, that might become an issue for Haksabanovic then. But he seems happy enough where he is right now and what he's getting to contribute to now with the team.
I totally agree. The thing would be with Haxall, like I totally agree. In technical ability terms, raw skill, he's better than probably.
What a chop! What a chop
Yeah.
that boy's got.
Unbelievable. He reminds me so much. I've said it before. Chris Commons, in a way, just the way he takes the ball with both feet, can fizz one, can cross a ball, can take players on. Matt as well. And you look at him, his profile of a player, European winger, scored goals in Sweden, scored goals in Russia for Rubin Kazan. Obviously, we got Abelgar from there as well, but didn't quite work out for him. And then, as I said, the Franley on the right-hand side of Bada. Is it just the case that, I mean, Haxall wasn't really coming back from a dip in form. It was more an injury, but Abada as well. Is it confidence with these players? They need a wee jolt, a goal, something to spur them on?
Yeah, I think they're, I think they're the two second choice wingers in terms of the front three at the minute. And I don't think it's anything other than a case of the guy in front of them is just playing better. Jota on one side and Maida on the other. Maida's come back from the World Cup like a man possessed. And I think that Haksabanovic, I would agree with Franny to an extent. I think technically he's probably, him and Jota are neck and neck to be Celtic's most, in terms of talent, pure raw talent. But Jota just has that wee X factor that he invested. I don't think Haksabanovic hasn't shown it as much. He has shown it, but not as much as Jota. But it's an unbelievable problem to have. Regarding Saturday's game, I just don't think it's one of them games that happens to every single player. Just never got started. It was like as the game, he built up. He just never got that run with the ball, that he run, that cross in the box, just to give him that bit of confidence. He just never got going. But it happens. It's happened to every single player, and it'll happen to him again. But he'll also come up with a goal like he scored as well. During the week. So it's a great problem to have him.
Yeah, I think, as you said at the start of the show, the squad depth has been the best it's been. And people say since Martin, do you know what I mean? I agree. I mean, in terms of players, it's fantastic to call upon these players. And I was saying the map before we come on, it's all internationals. Do you know what I mean? It's internationals are calling from the bench to fill the void. Just to come to the comments, Stoned Outlaw, in Sports Direct for a Sefco tapping a pack of darts. Kevin 14, he's definitely a player. I like this point. Taylor seems to come inside more than AJ, leaves the left winger with a lot more to do. Totally agree. I think that's all it is, Stephen. A wee goal of his arse to get him going. Brown Warrior. Likewise, when Ralston plays right back, he comes inside more and affects Abada. All these tactical tweaks, we don't know. Obviously, we're not privy to it. We're not experts in tactics. That's probably what happens. Players change, tactics change, and when you do that and you have different relationships going forward, obviously you have to take a time to kind of adjust to that. So they kind of round it off, Matt. By the way, fantastic show. It's been incredible. Great points of discussion, and people in the comments getting involved too. A wee word in Celtic, right? We're 9 points clear. We've won a cup. We're in a Scottish Cup semi-final. How's this season been for you?
Unreal. It's after the season that we don't talk about. You don't know what season talk about it, but we don't talk about it. It's been unreal. It's a great time to be a fan. Long may it continue. It's just such a release, such a buzz about playing all the songs, that we, and it's just such a buzz about being a Celtic fan right now. And I haven't felt it, I've obviously just fallen through thin, but I almost got that out there. But it's, I haven't felt this buzz since Rogers first came, and long may it continue.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think you say about the 10 season, Postecoglou finally's come in and just the connection between us. And as Matt said, see the buzz you get when you, it doesn't matter who they're playing now. You just want to watch the game. So you want to be there, you want to be involved in that atmosphere. And when you had Neil Lennon, it was like, fuck it, here we go again type thing, getting beat off fucking Ross County and the Cubs and all that. But not to relive past times. But like I said to Matt, how's it been for you this season in terms of how you've been feeling? I mean, it's incredible.
It's been absolutely brilliant. I mean, to think that, like you said, Steve, we started this podcast 2-3 years ago during that fatal season, how it's lasted, that is unbelievable. How we made it through that season. It was absolutely miserable watching Celtic then to sit and talk about it was murdered. But the season's been absolutely brilliant. For me, we're 2 games away from a treble. I don't see how we lose the league. We've got a semi-final and a final, hopefully, in the Scottish Cup to secure a treble, which would be absolutely amazing for the team, for Ange, and for everybody. Like, Matt's gigs must be bouncing in there because, like I say, everybody just can't get enough of Celtic content and things like that now. So that's been an amazing season, Stephen. It's just, and like I say, long may it continue.
100%. And Matt, give yourself a wee plug. Let the folks know what you do and where to find you.
Irish singer, folk singer, rebel singer, Celtic singer. Not a really Irish musician on Instagram, Matty401 on Twitter. Yeah, Colin, if you like what you hear, you know, and I'm play every week in Nancy Mulligan's, and yeah, that's me.
And he absolutely loves it. Look at the smile on his face. Look at the smile. He loves it. Loves the Celtic. Have you enjoyed this one, lads? And Matt, you as well. Have you enjoyed it?
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, boys.
Yeah, 100%. And until Friday, when we're going to be speaking about the Hibs game on Saturday, isn't it, this week? Aye, I think it is. Stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.
Thank you.